I want to talk about another couple of challenges. One is going to be security. So let's talk specifically more around a brute force style attack. So I'm going to drive into the security um, dashboard. And what we're going to look at here is actually the successful and failed logins. So what this is doing is looking at two-tier, PeopleSoft logins. So somebody that's logging in directly into the PeopleSoft system. So we can see that, we can actually log all that out. When you're working with single sign-on, your identity provider is going to have to provide this information. But when you have two-tier logins direct to PeopleSoft, we can do this. Numerous reasons. Why what am I worried about here? We've had organizations that have been hit with brute force attack, 3,500 logins a minute. They had just put changes into production the night before. They immediately thought they broke the system when we're about to back all of those out. Immediately, they found out that it ended up with a ton of failed logins. At 3,500 logins a minute, you're going to end up with a lot of information being captured very quickly. So they found the IP addresses that were doing it, blocked them on the external firewall, and they were done. That's how quickly they were able to solve that problem. Talking to them after the fact, they were like, it would have taken us months, and we would have rolled that project out of production because we thought we instigated a risk in those types of situations. So they wanted to mitigate that risk by rolling back the code, which everybody knows that's not exactly an easy process to do, depending upon the changes that you put into production. But what it comes down to is if you have the data to understand the problem, you can react to the correct problem. And that's what they were able to do. So they effectively mitigated the problem in a very short period of time and didn't have to worry about it. Had the documentation, knew what was going on, boom, and out, and they were done. So that's something that we see a lot of, and that's why you want to understand the IP addresses, geomapping, where people are coming from, what they're doing inside of the system. You'll see some of the same type of information up here as well. Another challenge that I've seen out there is multiple user logins from the same IP address. This is interesting. Why are people accessing the system from multiple different IP addresses, and what are they doing? Is this somebody inside as a rogue user and they're accessing as a very, very high privileged user and their self-service user? Should they even have that account? You can track it back to the IP address, successful failed login, how often they're doing it. So it really gives you an idea very quickly as to if you have people accessing the system in a rogue way. Maybe it is valid access. That's totally fine. But how quickly can you find that type of access and challenges inside? Other issues and challenges. How often are people making role changes, permissionless changes, any of those on the security side? So once again, we can quickly, let you know, a little unnecessary zoom there, but we can let you know, yes, somebody did make a change to a permission list. They made a change to a role. They made a change to user IDs. Where did that come from? Did that stem from an IP address that you're providing? Nobody should be able to access those those particular transactions off-prem. You probably should have those tightened down rather neatly for people to be able to access those systems. So from that particular perspective, those are just a couple of the scenarios that I wanted to go through. As you can see, we're capturing a lot of information from the audit flows. All of these are created based upon our platform, our security platform that's installed into the system. So these are all very contextual to us. None of the logs that have been used to do any of these dashboards or analytics are based upon PeopleSoft logs at all. They're all built upon our system and built up inside of PeopleSoft.